All right, today we are diving into one of the most powerful chapters in the entire Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. In just 20 short verses, it gives us this single, absolutely radical metaphor that's designed to flip our whole understanding of reality on its head. It's a concept so deep, it promises to untangle the very fabric of our existence.
So let's just jump right in with the core idea, which is a bit of a mind bender. What if everything you thought you knew about reality was structured like a giant tree? And here's the kicker, it's completely upside down. The roots are up in the sky and the branches grow down toward the earth. Yeah, I know it sounds wild, but stick with me because this is the key image we're going to unpack.
And here you have it, right in the very first verse. It talks about this imperishable Ashwatha tree, roots up, branches down. And look at how it immediately raises the stakes. It says that if you can truly understand this bizarre-sounding tree, you basically possess the highest spiritual knowledge there is. So what is this tree really?
Well, this Ashvatha tree is a metaphor for our material world, for everything we experience. Its roots aren't in the dirt, they're in the spiritual realm, the unseen, eternal source. The branches, where we all live our lives, are growing downwards into this temporary physical world. The whole point of the metaphor is to show us that what we think of as real is actually more like a reflection, like seeing a tree's reflection in a lake. It's an upside-down version of a higher, unseen truth.
Okay, so if our world is this massive, upside-down tree, that means we are living somewhere tangled up in its branches. This next part is all about how we get caught up in this complex, downward-growing world, a lot of times without even knowing it.
Let's break down the anatomy here. The main branches, it says, are nourished by the gunas, these three basic modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. They're what color our experiences. The twigs coming off those branches, those are all the things our senses are drawn to, what we see, what we want, what we chase after. But here's the most important part. Notice those other roots, the ones extending downwards. Those represent our actions and their consequences, our karma, and they're what bind us even tighter to this material world.
And that is the fundamental problem. Right? When you're stuck in the middle of this dense forest of branches and tangled roots, you can't see the whole thing for what it is. You can't see where it came from, where it's going, or what its real purpose is. We're just lost in the thick of it, completely missing the big picture.
So if we're all trapped, how in the world do we get out? Well, the Gita doesn't just point out the problem. It hands us the tool to solve it, and that tool is described as a strong, sharp axe.
The path to freedom is laid out in two really clear steps. Step one, you have to pick up this strong axe of detachment and start cutting through all those roots of attachment that are holding you here. And step two, once you've cut yourself free, is to start searching for what lies beyond the tree itself, that ultimate source, the place that once you get there, you never have to come back from.
Now, I want to be really clear about what detachment means here. This isn't about becoming a robot or being cold and indifferent to everything. Not at all. It's about achieving this incredible inner freedom. It's a kind of wisdom that stops you from being yanked around by your ego, by delusion, and by that constant need for things in the material world.
And this just lays out the difference perfectly. The attached mind is always being tossed around by pride, by desire, by that dizzying roller coaster of pleasure and pain. But the detached mind, it's free. It's moved past all that. The frantic desires have gone quiet, and that's when a person becomes ready to reach that eternal, imperishable state.
So, you've used the axe, you've cut yourself free from the tree. What's next? Where are we actually trying to go? The Gita describes this ultimate destination in this really beautiful, poetic way, by telling us not what it is, but what it is not.
Just think about that for a second. Every source of light we could possibly imagine, the sun, the moon, fire, electricity, none of them can light this place up. It's a reality that is self-luminous, totally beyond our physical concepts of light and energy. And there's that promise again. Once you get there, you don't return to the tangled mess of the cosmic tree.
So just to be crystal clear, this isn't just another stop along the way. This is it, the end of the line. This is liberation, freedom from that exhausting cycle of birth and death. It's described as a permanent state, a final return to our true eternal home.
We've talked about the tree we're trapped in, and we've talked about the path to freedom. But what is this ultimate destination really? The last part of this chapter shifts gears and focuses on the supreme reality itself, the actual source of this whole cosmic tree.
This verse right here reveals something absolutely incredible.
That ultimate goal, that supreme destination, it's not some distant, far-off place you have to travel to. It's intimately present, right here, right now. It is described as being seated in the hearts of all, as the very source of our own consciousness, our memory, our knowledge.
Now, to help us get our heads around this, the text makes a distinction. On one side, you have kshara. That's everything that's perishable, all the bodies, all the things in the world that are constantly changing and decaying. On the other side, you have akshara, the imperishable, the eternal self inside every being that never changes. But then, the Gita says there's something that's even beyond both of those.
And that is the Purushottama, the Supreme Person. This is the ultimate reality that goes beyond both the changing physical world and the unchanging individual self. The Purushottama is the absolute source, the one who sustains everything. It's the ultimate root of the cosmic tree and the final goal of every spiritual path.
And that brings us to the final verse, which calls this whole chapter the most confidential of all spiritual teachings. And just look at the unbelievable promise it makes. By simply understanding this whole picture, the cosmic tree, the acts of detachment, and the nature of the Supreme Person, a person becomes truly wise, and all of their life's duties are considered fulfilled.
So that leaves us with one last, really powerful question to think about. If just grasping this wisdom fulfills all of our duties, then what is our real work in this life? What does it mean for you, for me, for each of us, to pick up that axe of detachment and begin that journey home?